Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to my CI Claw Shadow Guide. So in this I'm going to go over a character and my skills and all those mechanics. I'll get to gameplay in some later videos, but the core of this is to accompany my written guide, which is posted on the forums. So, I'm going to go ahead and start off. We'll just look at some stats here. So you can see my attributes there. I got 219 intelligence, 206 dex, 247 strength. I have a lot of strength right now because of the way my tree is and because of my chest armor. I've been working on trying to 6-link a different chest, so eventually this number will drop by about 30 or so, and my intelligence will get up closer to 300. I'm going to look at my defenses here. So I have 4,000 armor base, 4,737 energy shield. I have capped resists, so in Merciless these will be minus 60, so it'll be 75, and then overcapped. And then I have 100% cast resistance because I'm Chaos Inoculation. 25% block chance, 6% spell block chance. This comes from my boots, which I'll get to. 31% increased run speed, 21.9 mana per second, and I cannot be stunned. That's something that's really, really important for this build. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through my gear now. Alright, so most of my gear is skinned, just because the skin looks amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll start with my main skill. So we have, well, my main chest. So here we got the 6-link Saintly Chainmail. This is an item I bought for about 30x. And key things here: big energy shield and a resist. I have a chest that's better base stats than my stash, but it's not a 6-link yet, and I'll still need to craft the colors. That's an ongoing project. But I'll go ahead and go through my links here. So we've got Dual Strike 2020, so I attack with both of my weapons. I've got Melee Splash, almost level 20. Once this hits level 20, it'll probably give me about another 1,000 DPS on the top end, but it gives me splash damage. Got a 2020 faster attacks, attack faster, he's doing more damage. You have a 19/20 increased critical damage. Once this gets 20/20, it'll be a 150% increased critical multiplier. This is a crit build, so that's really important. Multi-strike 2020. Obviously, this is something you want to attack fast and have some control. And then melee damage on full life. Since I'm Chaos Inoculation, I always have 1 life, as you can see over here, which means that I always get the bonus from this. Alright, so next I'm going to go through, I'll go through some of my other things that are really important in this build. Here's one of them. The almighty Abyssius. You're like, oh, you're using Abyssius and you have armor, and don't you take a whole bunch of damage? And the answer is, I do, but I'm able to mitigate it through my armor, my flasks, and the setup contained within this item. So we've got caster damage taken level 6, link to 7/20 Immortal Call, and a level 8 Enduring Cry. I'm gonna eventually get an 8/20. I'm leveling 1 to reset right now. And then I have an increased duration here. Again, this will reset to get better. But basically what happens is, when I take damage, I cast Enduring Cry and then cast Immortal Call, and I'm physical damage immune for about 5 to 6 seconds, typically. So this does a lot, especially if there's a bunch of physical damage mobs or against like a big boss. I'll take 1 hit and then I'll be immune to damage for the next 3 hits, kind of a deal. Alright, so I'll go ahead and use my auras here. Well, first, here are my gloves. We've got evasion rating and energy shield. Evasion rating is something I like on my gear because I use iron reflexes, and I have options to increase my armor if need be. So the auras I use most of the time, I use Hatred, which this is a physical build. This scales my damage really well. And I also use Discipline, which gives me more shields. Discipline is something I will always use. I'm not going to ever swap this out. I will occasionally swap out Hatred for Grace. Grace will give me an additional like 5,000 or 6,000 armor. So I can use this in situations where there's a lot of physical damage, and I don't need all my DPS. I have these linked to reduce mana in my auras, and the other thing I have on here is my curse, my Assassin's Mark. This will eventually get 20/20. I've started using this recently. But basically the point of this is that I realized that I'd get way better damage if I put an increased critical multiplier on my chest instead of power charge on crit. So I need other ways of getting power charges. This is one of them. I have 2. Go into my boot setup. So we have rainbow strides here. Rainbow strides are pretty much like the best boots you're going to probably ever get for a CI melee character. They've got all resist, move speed, high. They got mana, which is really nice. They also have a lot of shields, and they have the 25% of block chance applied to spells, which gives you a little bit of block chance for spells, which can help with this in some cases. If you want to get better boots than these, like with the all resistance and the move speed and the energy shield, they're going to cost a lot of currency, and pretty much these here are pretty much like the best you can get. I highly recommend them for this character. So in here, this has changed from my guide. I'm going to update the thread. But we have my 2020 Flicker Strike, which I use to move around. I have the faster attacks. I may change this out for another gem. It's just kind of sitting here right now because I like it. And then I've got Increased Critical Strike Chance. And you're like, whoa, why do you have this? And the point of this Flicker Strike is twofold. It is, one, to move around, and two, to gain power charges. So I don't care about the damage, I just want to be more likely to crit, so I'm more likely to get power charges. So I'm going to move into my weapons. So first of all, we have the Bloodseeker. The Bloodseeker is extremely important for this build because it lets me have instant leech without Volpact. Taking it on the tree. Taking Volpact on the tree reduces your leech. It gives you your leech of 40% effectiveness, which is horrible. I have 29% life leech with this character. Let me pull that up. Okay, so here you can see 18%. Let me turn on my skill. It goes to 29%. So I have 29% life leech with this character. Okay, if I was using Volpact, I would only have 11.6% life leech, and that's pretty huge. I could have a lot better. Actually, I would have even less than 11.6% because the Bloodseeker has an additional 6% life leech on it. You're not going to get that on another claw. So, in actuality, I would have, let's see, I would have about 9% life leech with Volpact with a different claw. So, one of the big things is that I don't have to take Volpact, and my leech is just massive. So this claw, it's about 200 physical damage per second. That's really the most important stat when you're playing this character because you want it for the life leech and the Hatred Aura. But here I have linked my 2020 faster attacks and my whirling blades, which I use to move around. And I also keep my grace in here. I could level another gem here and keep the grace in my inventory, but I don't really care. Oh, here's something I forgot. So, on your custom damage taken, if you want to, instead of using increased duration, you can use an enfeeble, a temporal chains, or an assassin's mark. You can use a curse. It's up to you. I decided I liked manually casting my curse and getting an increased duration in my helmet. So we go to my other claw. This is a very, very good claw. I found this and then I put a master's mod on it. It's about 310 physical damage per second. In here we have linked my Blood Rage. This is really important for this build. This is a 2020 Blood Rage because I get extra life leech and I get frenzy charges on kill, which makes me attack faster. I'm completely immune to the downside, which is losing my maximum life as chaos damage, because A, I'm immune to chaos damage, and B, my maximum life is 1. I don't get the benefit of the 60% increased attack speed on low life, but that's not that big of a deal. So, because I attack really fast. So linked to here I have an increased duration gem. To make it last longer. It lasts almost 30 seconds base duration, and it resets every time I get a kill, so I usually have to cast it only once per map. And I also have my level 2 Enhance. So this gives me more quality, which gives me more leech. I could potentially use an Empower here, but I was using Enhance and it's worked fine so far. So next I'm going to go through my jewelry. Some of these things, I'm going to have to pull up my stash to show what I used to use, but I'll go ahead and show it. Okay, so I used to use Eye of Chala. So this is really important for Chaos Inoculation builds because the reduced life doesn't affect you at all. You're at 1 life anyway. But it has this cannot be stun mod, which means that as a CI character you're prone to being stunned because of your low amount of base life. So stuns on you can get pretty ridiculous. So until you have the Unwavering Stance node in the tree, it's really important to have this. But since I have an Unwavering Stance now, I now get to use this amulet. This amulet is, it's not the best I could have, but I've replaced Chalo with it. I'll use it until I get a better one. Strength and intelligence, that's just nice because I need a lot of strength to use Abyssius, and I mean, intelligence adds more energy shields and more mana. So big important things here, that we got that flat physical damage, that 18% increased max energy shield, and then we got some rarity and some quantity, which is kind of nice, and some fire resistance. Ideally, what I would say my ideal amulet would be, I would want flat fizz, I'd want critical strike chance, I'd want energy shield, I want percentage energy shield, and some resistances, and maybe increase global critical multiplier. But such things are kind of expensive, and I don't really need more DPS right now. So this is fine. I'll probably upgrade it later. Also, accuracy is something that it might be important to have on my amulet. So next we have my ring here. This ring, it's pretty solid. It's got some okay res. It's got 38 light res and 12 of the other reses. But the big thing here is that we have a big accuracy rating. We got mana regeneration rate. We got mana. We got more shields. And I crafted the flat fizz onto it. So this ring is nice. It gives me a lot of damage. I used to use the additional accuracy gem in my setup, and by putting some accuracy on gear, I was able to replace it. So I'll go into my other ring now. So this is a ring that I alched this ring initially when I found it. It is a legacy base mod, so it's got that 2% extra res. But when I alched this, I got the flat fizz, the flat fire, the flat cold, and the all res. And it was like, okay, this ring is great. So later I yellow X'd it, and I got the strength. And finally, I've mastercrafted the 14% increased max energy shield on there. This ring is amazing. Generally, CI builds need strength to use their gear, and it's just got all res, it's got physical damage, it's got energy shield. This ring is fantastic. The prefixes could be better. I don't really need the elemental damage, but it's still really great. I really like it. Okay, here's my belt. My belt, again, this belt could be improved. It's kind of a placeholder, but rustic sashes are really what you want for this character's belt. We got strength, which again helps for the reasons I said. We got energy shield, cold resistance, and I crafted the elemental damage with weapons on there because I can't craft any more resistances onto this because all of its suffixes are full. Those are filled by the strength, the cold resistance, and the block and stun recovery. So ideally, I'd like something with like more resistances just to kind of overcap me a little bit more. And then like energy shields and maybe some armor. You don't actually need like a super uber belt with this character. A lot of things people want, like life and armor and stuff, aren't super required. So I'm going to go to my flasks here. My flasks are pretty important. So we have this Surgeon's Jade Flask of Iron Skin. So Surgeon's is important because I crit a lot, so this will recharge quickly. It gives me 3,000 flat evasion and 84% increased armor. And you're like, well, wait, why are you using the armor mod? Well, when you have the iron reflexes node in the tree like I do, the armor mod will apply to both your evasion and your armor. And I have armor on this piece and armor on this piece, and this piece has evasion rating. So the big thing here is that when I pop this, I go from like 4,000 armor to like 17,000 armor, and it's pretty darn great. So next Jade Flask. This Jade Flask removes bleeding and again recharges on crits. This gives me less armor, but it's really important to use against like corrupting blood mods. I can tank them as long as they're alive, but if there's no more enemies to attack afterwards, I will die pretty fast. So I pop this flask, and it's also like a good secondary armor flask. I can pop them both at the same time, and my evasion rating will go. My armor rating will go through the roof. So one of the things you may be wondering at this point is, wait a minute, how do you deal with being frozen? I see you have a Dream Frags here in your inventory. So I've explained why I'm not using Dream Frags in my thread. I'll just reiterate it here. So I'm not using Dream Frags because A, it's only got one paltry resist on it and doesn't offer me any damage, and doesn't offer me any tankiness besides the cannot be frozen mod. Now I've found that so I carry this ring because I equip it sometimes. Like if there's a boss that does a lot of cold damage and I get frozen all the time from him, I will definitely equip this. But in most cases, when there's occasional enemies that do cold damage, I can usually kill them fast enough that they don't freeze me very often, and then I carry this flask, which makes me run faster and removes frozen. My Ruby Flask also removes frozen, so I have 4 shots of remove freeze for free. And this is usually enough in most cases, and I don't want to run Dream Frags. I could run Alpha's Howl, but then I lose the Abyssius. So I don't really want to run Alpha's Howl with this iteration of the build. And then finally I have my Topaz Flask here. This is a Surgeon's. Pretty much all my flasks are Surgeons except for my move speed Flask. I could probably make this a Surgeons of Heat, but I'm too lazy and this thing works fine. So we got 99% increased armor and 1 charge when I deal a critical strike. So this is really important because a lot of the most dangerous enemies in the game do lightning damage. So you want to up your max lightning resistance, and it also increases my armor. So this is really useful on maps where I have like high physical damage enemies and the monsters deal extra damage as lightning, because I get armor to block their physical damage, and I also get lightning resistance to make them do less damage to me. So my Flasks are pretty optimized. I could have potentially better ones and swap them out, but I don't usually, and I like them quite a bit in this setup. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show my passive tree now. Let me zoom out. Okay, so I'm a shadow. This build is kind of convoluted a little bit, but I'll just kind of highlight what I'm going for here. I'm level 88 if you didn't already know. I just go out the physical damage from the shadow tree, attack speed, one-hand damage and attack speed, quickness, and then I jump down here into this evasion and energy shield thing. I'm probably going to drop this node eventually and get some more shields with it, but we will see. Because this node isn't really that efficient. It could be better. And then here I go through all this evasion rating, energy shield. I get all this critical chance here. I get this node because it's more mana regen, more damage. It's on the way. And then I jump through the power charges here. I get mana leech, which is pretty darn important. I get ghost reaver, which is super important. You can't play this build without this. And then I come through here and I get the claw damage and leech nodes. So you're like, oh, why don't I have these nodes? Well, these nodes, 5% attack speed is pretty paltry, and this node is really situational. I think it sucks, and I'm not going to burn points on it. So I come up here, I picked up these critical chance nodes, and then I have chaos inoculation and all the things behind it. Those are really important. And then I route this way into the witch tree for shields. I was considering routing through here. This takes more points. It does give me access to this critical multiplier stuff, but I really need more critical chance. My critical multiplier is really high. So I might get this eventually, but I probably won't. So I come through here, Deep Wisdom, and then Arcane Focus. This is a huge node. And I'm coming down through here, getting the Energy Shield nodes. There's a 12% node here for me. I might get this one, but we'll see. Alright, so next I come down. So I take a lot of duelist nodes on this character, because they're pretty strong. I get the extra shield here because it's right there. Attack speed, critical chance, and multiplier. We drop through the evasion rating here, and I go around to the left. So when you're leveling this character, you want to drop through here to the right to get iron reflexes, but once you get to a certain point and you're looking to use unwavering stance, you really want to go to the left here. So we get sentinel, we get a bunch of strength, which is really nice. This accuracy node here is really good. Gives you crit and accuracy. When you go this way, you want to pick up this accuracy cluster here. But you'll spec out of this to get Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is way better. And then I drop through all this armor here. Master the Arena, I use this for weapon range and strength. It's really nice. More mana, attack speed, dual wield block chance. There's like 9% additional block chance here, I think. No, it was 10. Yeah, they moved the 10 out of this node and they moved it into these nodes a little bit. This whole section used to be 14, but I got nerfed a little bit. And I come through here, Iron Reflexes, Dual Wield Critical Strike Chance. Then I drop through here, and we get Unwavering Stance. So that's what let me not use Chala. There's some interesting things here. There's some aura stuff here I could get. Some aura stuff here I could get. Some aura stuff here I could get. I only run 2 auras. I mean, I could maybe see myself running Herald of Ash, but I've done the math, and it's not really worth it for the amount of nodes I have to spec at this point. So another thing I've tried in the past is you can go across the tree here, and you can get all this stuff, and you can go down here and get the one-handed critical nodes. And you also get this power charge node over here if you do that, but I actually calculated it, and you get more shields and more armor by investing in the witch passives over here, and by investing in the duelist passives over here with less points. So again, you get more armor, more shields with less points, and you also get more critical strike chances. You don't have to spend as many points traveling across the tree. You also get Unwavering Stance, which is kind of big. If you did it the other way, you could route all the way down here and get an Unwavering Stance. Some builds do that, but I'm not a huge fan of that. So things you can get in the future for this character, You know, if you like the attack speed, I don't really need more. You can pick up some frenzy charges from over here. You can pick up the frenzy charge here if you want. And more shields. There's a whole bunch of shields available here. I mean, I'm at a point where it's like I don't need more damage. I've had people like try to recommend these nodes to me. I'm just like, no, this is 4 points for 25%. And over here, you spend 4 points and you get like 38%. And I don't need life, so it's like those nodes are a possibility, but I'm kind of thinking not. So anyway, that's my tree. I have posted a few leveling trees in my guide. Some other things you can potentially try with this character. You can try to go for some dual wield block, but I don't think dual wield block is really what you want to use with Abyssius because it's too unreliable. Another thing I'm probably going to do here actually is I'm probably going to come across here and get the critical strike chance and deadly deluge, or dilettante, or whatever you want to call it. And some people have said, oh yeah, you should go down here into the dual wield block section, and the answer to that is no. I'm not going to do that with this character because again, there's a lot of damage down here, but the thing is I don't really need more damage at this point. And the other important thing is that, well, block doesn't cut it when a big hit gets through your block with the Abyssius. So you really need that construction and the cast damage taken. I can actually tank like Dominus Fists when I pop a Flask, so it's not that big. Abyssius isn't actually that big of a downside. So let me talk about my DPS just a little bit. Okay, so my quote-unquote in-town DPS. This is without any charges, is 67,000. And when I have frenzy charges, this jumps to about 72,500. And when I have frenzy charges and power charges, I have 89.1 thousand DPS. When you use grace instead of hatred, you get a little bit less. Your DPS, your top DPS when using grace instead of hatred, instead of being 89.1 thousand, it is about 65.5 thousand. So, again, if you need to use grace, your damage will still be more than enough. And I leech like a boss here. Like I can get chunked down to like 100 shields, touch an enemy, and go to full health. So, again, leech is a really powerful aspect of this character. We have my Flicker Strike. You can actually substitute Flicker Strike into your chest and use the same links, and it's kind of funny. And you can clear a lot of low-level areas with that. Use this to move around. I queue up all my auras with this key here, and then I have my Blood Rage. And I keep Assassin's Mark, my Q and my D. D I use to cast curses on some other characters, so it's kind of instinctive that I push this button, or I just push Q because I practice on this character. Let me go into my critical strike chance a little bit here. If you just want to see the tree and other stuff, you can kind of skip this section, but I'm just going to show my DPS stats. Okay, so critical strike chance. So my base critical strike chance is 37.5%. When I have my power charges, this goes to 50%, about 51% actually. And then with Assassin's Mark, it goes to about 60%. With a critical multiplier of 651%. With Assassin's Mark, this is higher. With Assassin's Mark, it's about 55% higher, so it's a little over 700% critical multiplier. So when I crit, enemies just die. Bosses melt. Anyway, so that's going to kind of do it for the video portion of just going through all my skills and stuff. And I'll put up some other videos a little later, going through some maps and stuff, and kind of talk about how to play the build. But for now, that's about it. I hope you guys have a good day. Enjoy the video, enjoy the guide, and hey, if you want to play the guide, like, let me know. Like, post on the thread. I might give you some gear. We'll see. I can definitely give you feedback as how you level. This is a really powerful character. He's kind of expensive. Most CI characters are kind of expensive. I'm working on a life and evasion variation of this build, which has been done. People have seen it. I'm also potentially going to work on a Cloak of Defiance version of this build. So we shall see. So again, I'm Savage. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.